welcome again. Thanks for joining us today on Tuesday night. And before we start, I just wanted to do a very quick housekeeping while we wait for everyone to join the session. So first of all, this webinar session will be recorded, and we will also send the recording of the webinar and also the slides that we used today to all the attendees. So if you have any information that you need to refer back to the slides, you will have those information with you. In this webinar, closed caption will be available. So if you need closed caption, feel free to turn on the CC button. And then in terms of the question, I know that quite a lot of you have submitted your questions when you register to the event. So thank you very much. We will try our very best to cover most of them in today's session. There will also be checkbox function for questions during the webinar as well. So if you have any questions throughout the whole session, feel free to put it in the checkbox and we'll try our best to answer those. Or if you would like to schedule a one-to-one chat with the team, you can find more information about booking a one-to-one chat with us at the end of this webinar. And lastly, just wanted to let you guys know that please get your phone ready, because there will be some QR codes throughout the whole webinar where you will be able to download some important guides and also sample materials. So let us start now. Cool. So a bit of an introduction here. My name is Jolie, and I am the Student Recruitment Manager at the College of Legal Practice. So together with my lovely colleague, Sydney, we together oversee the journey of prospective students from their initial interest to signing up to a program with the college. And for me personally, I also work with different university law societies for their partnership schemes as well. Together here with me, we have Sarah. Sarah is the program leader for the part-time LLM in legal practice and the GDL program, and she's also a module leader and supervisor for many of the modules. So welcome, Sarah. And here with us, yep.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you. And we also have Matt here. Matt is our LLM student, and he has passed our the SQE 1 assessment with the college. So thank you for joining us today, Matt.
Good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, cool. So let's talk about what we're going to cover today. Of course, we have prepared you quite a lot of content here today. Firstly, we're going to talk very briefly about our college, who we are, and also we will talk a little bit more about the SQE pathway, the SQE route, the assessment, and Sarah is going to show us a quick course demo. And Matt will also be sharing his experience of studying with the college and passing his SQE 1 assessment with the college. And finally, of course, there will be lots of opportunities for anyone to ask any questions. Okay, so here we are. Who are we? For those who don't know, we are a postgraduate course provider that specializes in SQE training. And just to give you a little bit of the background, our parent company are the College of Law, and they are the leaders in legal education in Australia. So we have around over 20 years of digital learning expertise. And we are all about accessibility and affordability in legal education. So traditionally, the legal profession is known for being one with many barriers and challenges, and we wanted to try our very best to eliminate that by offering courses at an affordable price. And we also like to facilitate access through our personal and targeted individual support, where students will get very high level of one-to-one tutor supervision. And lastly, we ensure an inclusive learning environment through our learning and teaching, and therefore we can make reasonable adjustment for those who need it, giving everybody an opportunity to get the most out of their learning. Okay. So we, as the college, we are fully established in the legal sector with SQE partnerships with leading firms, organizations, and law school. And you can see a few examples on the screen here. So moving on, I'm going to pass it to Sarah, and she will be able to give us a little bit more information about the SQE pathways and assessment. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Jolie. So you're obviously assume all aware of the new SQE route to qualification, and this slide demonstrates the 4 key components that are now needed in order for you to get admission as a solicitor in England and Wales. And you might have heard all about the flexibility. So there is a lot more flexibility in the SQE route to qualification, in the sense that you can do each of these 4 components in whatever order you want, although, for example, the degree is usually going to be first, and you fit them together in this jigsaw in the way that you want in order for you to then seek admission once you meet the SRA's suitability requirements. And in particular, there is a lot more flexibility in the new route to qualification in relation to how you undertake the exams, SQE1 and SQE2, and then the qualifying work experience, which replaces the training contract component of the SQE route to qualification. So our next slide is going to demonstrate some of that new flexibility that has been brought in. So traditionally, you might have been aware that previously, prior to SQE, the way in which you qualified as a lawyer was very linear. So you would have either have done a law degree or a conversion course, such as the GDL. You'd have then gone on to your legal practice course, the vocational aspect, and then moved on to your 2-year training contract. This slide demonstrates the fact that it's no longer linear. So there are a number of ways in which you can qualify. So the first one is you know exactly what you want to do. You know you want to be a solicitor, and you basically just want to get your qualifications over and done with. So in that sense, you might want to pursue the more traditional linear approach. So get your SQE1 and SQE2 exams out of the way, as shows, and then leave the qualifying work experience to the end of your training period before you apply for admission. The middle option, which is, I would say, the one that is quite common and quite popular, is that a lot of you will need to do some work while you study. And a lot of people are already doing legal work in a legal context. So this is the one that might be working for you. So you basically do your SQE1 prep and your exams all the way through at the same time as perhaps doing your qualifying work experience, either on a full-time or part-time basis. And all the courses that we offer enable you to combine that studying and earning at the same time. And then finally, the last option perhaps is for someone who's not quite sure if you really do want to be a lawyer. So in that sense, we might actually suggest that you do some qualifying work experience first of all, to actually test the waters, dip your toe in the waters and see what it's actually like to be doing legal work, before you then commit yourself to perhaps the SQE1 and SQE2 exams. And then you can continue while you're doing that, and you've made that decision, you can then continue that qualifying work experience alongside your preparation courses. So those are some of the SQE pathways that you might want to pursue. So just now want to move on to looking at the exams in a little bit more detail, and I'm sure you've already heard quite a lot about SQE1 and SQE2, and Matt will be able to give you some of his insights into the SQE1 exam. So on this slide, you have the 2 exams side by side. So the first one, SQE1, which you must pass in order to progress onto SQE2, unless you've got an exemption such as the LPC. And this tests what the SRA call functioning legal knowledge. And functioning legal knowledge covers 13 areas of law. So in terms of how that's broken down, that would traditionally be your 6 areas of academic practice that you would have undertaken as part of a law degree, together with the more vocational subjects that you would have previously studied on the LPC. So that makes 12. And then you've also got the area of professional conduct, which pervades everything that you do as a lawyer. So those are your 13 areas of law. Now, this is where things are going to be very different from how you might have studied previously. You've probably heard that it's a pretty taxing exam made up of 360 multiple choice questions. but don't be fooled by the fact that they're called multiple choice questions. They are pretty demanding, and they are quite different to any multiple choice questions that you might have, for example, come across when you've done a law degree. So those 360 multiple choice questions are divided into sort of 4 exam papers that are taken over a 2-day period. You've got 2 exams on one day covering 6 areas of law, and then you've got the subsequent 6 over the other 2 day over the other day, so another 2 papers, and then professional conduct can crop up in any of those 4 papers. SQE 1, again, opening up accessibility to the profession. Obviously, you can take your exams in England and Wales, but there are also test centres that are available in worldwide locations, and there's a full list of the worldwide locations on the SRA website. And in terms of when you can sit SQE 1, the SRA run assessment dates every 6 months. So at the moment, those are in January and July in each year, but I know that they are always looking to add further dates, so watch that space. But as things stand, it's in January and July every year. And this last bullet point tells you the SQE 1 exam fees, which currently apply to the SQE 1 exam, and those are payable to the SRA in addition to any prep fees that you might want to take on as well. So that's SQE 1. So then moving on to SQE 2, and this is badged as the skills element of the SQE qualification because it's testing oral and written skills, legal skills. But don't be fooled by that title, because although yes, it is obviously testing skills, those skills need to be embedded in legal practice. So you will be carrying through your SQE 1 knowledge into SQE 2 in relation to the 5 practice areas that the skills are tested in. And each of those 13 areas of law that underpin those 5 practice areas can be examined. So your SQE 1 knowledge is still going to be very, very crucial for tackling SQE 2 as well. So SQE 2 is slightly different because it's 1 exam, but it's made up of what the SRA calls 16 assessments stations, testing, as I say, those 6 legal skills, 2 oral skills, and 4 written legal skills. And those 6 legal skills are made up of those 16 assessments. And those 16 assessments, again, it's a pretty full diary of exams. There's 5 days of exams, and those are usually taken, those 5 days are usually spread over a 3-week period. Again, in terms of where you can take the exams, the written exams, again, are available on a worldwide basis. So again, in the same sort of assessment centres that you'd have sat SQE 1. But in terms of the oral assessments, those have only got designated sites in England and Wales, currently in London, Birmingham, Manchester and Cardiff. But again, the SRA are looking to expand that in the future. And then in terms of SQE 2, there are basically 4 assessment points in each year, January, April, July and October. And because of the fact that obviously it's a more intense set of exams, then you can see here that the SQE 2 exam fees are about £1,000 more expensive than SQE 1. So those 2 sets of exam fees are something to factor in when you're looking to think about funding for your SQE route to qualification. So that is SQE 1 and SQE 2. So moving on to qualifying work experience, which again is the new element of the SQE route to qualification. And as it says here, it's basically a period of practical work experience, and it replaces the training contract element on the previous way to qualify. And it's quite different to the training contract in the sense that what it's asking you to do is to develop what the SRA call the solicitor competencies. So these are the skills and competencies that you need to develop in order to carry out your role as a solicitor. So that would involve technical skills, that would involve skills and understanding of ethics and professional conduct, And then it's also sort of practical skills such as organisation, time management, etc. So that's what the QWE is designed to look at, is making sure that you are developing some of those solicitor competencies. And there's more information about that on the SRA website. So another difference between qualifying work experience and the old training contract is that work experience under the new route can be undertaken anywhere in the world. So previously, you'd have had to have undertaken a training contract with an authorised training provider, which usually meant that your training contract would take place in England and Wales. Now you can undertake your qualifying work experience anywhere in the world. So that's not just England and Wales, but any other jurisdiction. But what's important, I've just jumped down to the final bullet point here, but what's important is that wherever you take your work experience, that work has to be signed off, or as the SRA mentioned, confirmed by a solicitor or compliance officer who is SRA registered. So effectively what that means in practice is that the solicitor who signs off your work must be one who is on the roll of solicitors in England and Wales. So that's something important to be aware of, particularly if you are thinking of carrying out your work experience somewhere in another jurisdiction. So similar, just going back up to the fourth bullet point, similar to the training contract, you've got to carry out an equivalent of 2 years qualifying work experience. But another big difference again between the training contract and the new QWE is that you're entitled to do that work experience in up to 4 different organisations. So it's up to you to decide where you want to do that work experience. It could be in one firm, or it might be that you can mix and match and do it between different organisations, perhaps because you've already got some under your belt. As it says, finally, the other major thing to note is that unlike the training contract, which traditionally would have been, you'd have had 4 seats, each of about 6 months each, there is no minimum or maximum length for the placements, as long as you're making up to the 24 months and you haven't used more than 4 organisations. But what's really important is to think about how long you will need to be able to develop some of those solicitor competencies, because that's what's going to be important. So as you can see from what I've just said, the QWE is a lot more flexible than the training contract. And we've already talked about the fact that you can do your QWE alongside your SQE preparation. But the other 2 important points is that perhaps some of you are already working as paralegals or are in other legal positions within the profession. And where that's the case, you can bank that QWE that you've already got, so long as you can get someone within the organisation to confirm the work you've done. And remember that what they're doing when they're signing off the work is they're not signing off your legal competency, because your legal competency is examined via the SQE exams. What they're signing off is the fact that you have developed those all-important solicitor competencies, which I've just mentioned. The other thing that's very flexible about the QWE is that it can be signed off either as paid or voluntary work. So, for example, if you're at university and you take part in a law clinic or advice centre, then that legal work that you do can be counted as towards your QWE as well. So hopefully you can see that that QWE is hopefully going to be a lot more flexible and accessible than that traditional training contract. So that was everything I think that I'm talking about for the time being. So I think I'm going to hand over to Jolie, who will be talking about the next slide.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So if any one of you are at a very early stage of deciding whether the solicitor profession is right for you, feel free to download the guide on the screen. You can scan the QR code on the screen. This is a free guide, and this guide basically brings together the advice, the tips, and also experience from newly qualified and also experienced solicitor, along with graduate recruitment professionals, to basically help you decide if the solicitor route will be something that is right for you. So, okay. So of course, we have Sarah here today. Thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about like the the SQE and also the qualifying work experience. But it will be really great to hear from your side, from our academic team, on how the college we actually support our students' SQE journey. So I've prepared some questions here. It will be really great if you can tell us a little bit more about different topics and also give us some of your insight. So first of all, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen first so that we can all see your lovely face. So first of all, can you tell us a little bit more about your approach to supporting students in our courses? Can you tell us a little bit more about the group sessions and also the individual supervisions that the college offer?
Yes, of course, Jolie. So as people are aware, we're a completely online provider, but that doesn't mean to say that we're not here to support our students. So although a lot of your time will be in independent study, there are a number of different ways in which we do provide support. So we provide support in the group setting by means of our town hall meetings and our surgeries. So I'll just explain what those are very briefly. So our town hall meetings are group sessions whereby we get the whole cohort together to orientate people at various stages of the course and to signpost them to revision tips, SQE information, or generic feedback from supervisors on their progress as a cohort. So those are held periodically throughout each course. And then the surgeries, these principally relate to the SQE1 and SQE2 prep courses. And the surgeries are practice area surgeries led by a subject matter expert who will be giving students tips and guidance on a particular practice area to help them, as I say, work their way through their independent studies. All of those sessions are recorded if you're not able to make the live session, so you're never going to miss out on important information. So that's the group setting, and then individual support. We pride ourselves on the high level of individual support that we provide students through our one-to-one supervision process, particularly for SQE1 and SQE2 prep. And essentially every student is assigned an individual supervisor who they will meet with on a regular basis to help them progress through the course. And there are a number of individual sessions, and then there are also group sessions so that we can build that sense of community with other students as well.
Cool. Thank you very much. It's really good to hear about the group sessions, the individual kind of support that we offer to students. And on top of that, what would you say are the key skills that students will need to succeed on their SQE? Of course, our students will have support from the teaching team, but what are the key skills that they actually need to have?
Okay, so as well as that all important, obviously, technical legal knowledge, which, as you say, the academic team and supervisors will help them with, I think there needs to be a lot of practical skills. So particularly when you move on to the transactional modules and SQE2, you'll be looking at developing your writing skills, your drafting skills. But then there's also what I would term the soft skills, or in sort of O-shaped skills, which is now becoming to the fore. So I would say you need to be well organised. These courses are pretty intense because of the timetable that the SRA set. So you have to be pretty organised. You've got to be able to manage your time well. I would say you need to be focused as well. You need to know what your end goal is and have that determination and stamina to get to that end goal. So these are all skills, probably recognisable, that you need in the workplace. So you're just applying some of those workplace skills into a study setting.
Oh, thank you very much. And I know that we do have a very unique element of our course, which is the SQE Ready review. Can you tell us a little bit more about this review and how does it actually help students in preparing for the SQE assessments?
Yeah, so I've already mentioned that obviously students meet with their one-to-one supervisor at various points throughout the course. And at various milestones, we'll be checking in with them just to see how they're doing and sort of sort of making sure they remain on target for the SQE exam at the end of the course. So at the end of the course, or towards the end of the course, we have what we call our SQE readiness review. And that's where we sit down with the student, looking at their past performance and the data. We've got a lot of analytical data that we use from formative assessments that the students undertake throughout the course. And we sit down and have an open and frank discussion as to whether they feel ready, and our recommendation as to whether we think they're ready to sit the SQE exam at the end of the course. And we will then have some advice and guidance as to what to do if students don't feel ready. But on the whole, that we will be encouraging students where possible, obviously, to sit SQE at the point that's right for them.
That's really good. Thank you very much, Sarah. And in terms of choosing the right course, of course, who do you recommend to take the law conversion course, the GDL program, before their SQE journey?
Okay, so as you probably remember from what I said earlier, you no longer need a law degree in order to qualify as a solicitor, but the SQE assessment specifications are pretty rigorous and pretty wide ranging. And I think it would be fair to say that without some sort of law degree or foundation in the basic legal principles, you'd find that very demanding in order to be able to hit the ground running with the prep course. So the GDL programme is designed for students who haven't got a law degree. So in order to give them the foundations in the 6 academic subjects that underpin a law degree, but as well as non-law graduates, or non-law students, we also maybe recommend it for perhaps people who did a law degree a long time ago, so they need a refresher in the law, or perhaps people who are qualified in other jurisdictions and perhaps need to embed their understanding and knowledge of English law subjects. So that's sort of the 3 main categories, I would say, in terms of who might find the GDL program beneficial.
Cool. Thank you very much. I know that we do have like to ask you a little bit more about the LLM and choosing if LLM is right, but let's keep this for later, and we can talk about it when Matt share his experience as an LLM student with us. Thank you very much, Sarah. So I'm going to share my screen again now, and we can move forward. Okay. So just to give a very brief summary of what Sarah has covered earlier. Of course, I just wanted to go through and highlight our college approach in supporting all students' SQE journey. So firstly, it's about our flexible learning. So for our college, we offer both full-time and part-time options for our courses, and you can choose the right one for you according to the hours that you can commit each week. Weekly timetables will be provided a week before the course starts, and you can plan ahead and basically fit your learning into your work week. And as mentioned by Sarah, there will be town halls and also surgeries meeting with our expert solicitors. And these sessions, group sessions, will be recorded so that you can watch the recordings in your own time if you couldn't attend the live sessions. And as mentioned by Sarah, we also have one-to-one individual supervision to support you and to ensure that you progress successfully through the course. And there will also be opportunity to undertake practice assessments which will replicate the SQE assessment, and you will also receive individual feedbacks from experienced practitioners as well. And as mentioned by Sarah, you will receive an individual SQE ready review, which provides some insight on the likelihood of passing the SQE assessment based on your performance throughout the course. And another thing that we would like to highlight is the reasonable adjustment that we provide. We are fully committed to ensuring that every student has access to fair learning and assessment so that they can feel confident in their ability to succeed in their studies. Therefore, we strongly encourage you to reach out to us as early as possible, even before you are a student, and to talk to us and discuss any concern or any considerations that you may wish to address, so that it gives us the best chance and the time to accommodate your individual needs as best as we can. And lastly, just wanted to highlight our positive feedback that we received from our students so far about our approaches in helping them to prepare for their SQE. So it's very, very rewarding for the college to see that our students are highly satisfied about our college. For example, from the student feedback that we received in 2023, 88% of the students were likely to recommend the college to others. And for the graduate foundation and law program that finished in 2023, the college has a 100% student satisfaction rate with the program overall. So it's really, really good to hear that our approaches and what we are delivering is really helpful for students. So moving forward, I'm going to pass it back to Sarah, and Sarah is going to give us a very quick demo of our Canvas platform. And you can see on the screen, there is a QR code as well, where you can download any of our course demos and sample materials. So over to you now, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you just give me screen sharing rights?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Lovely,
1
thank
second.
you.
Okay, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, lovely. So
Thank
what
you.
I'm doing now is I'm just going to give you a very brief demonstration of one of our courses, which essentially is called Solicitors Legal Knowledge, which is the SQE1 preparation course. But all of our modules, so that's whether you come onto the GDL, SQE1 prep, SQE2 prep, or the transactional modules, all have a very similar feel to the online learning. So when you first join a module, you'll be led to this, what we call the home page, which here is the one for Solicitors Legal Knowledge. And this is the landing page to basically orientate your way around each course. So this homepage has links to important course information. So you get links to course announcements, links to the email system that we use, which is called the Canvas inbox, which I'm just sort of indicating here on the left-hand side of the screen, and also lead you to what we call the discussions boards area, which is where you can post questions about all the different practice areas that you will be undertaking in relation to each of the modules. So for example, for Solicitors Legal Knowledge, there are 13 discussion boards for each of those 13 practice areas that you will be studying on Solicitors Legal Knowledge. So then as well, at the bottom of each module page, I'm just going to scroll down, there will be links to all of the units that make up the module. So here at the bottom of the page, you can see that the Canvas area is divided into 13 units, which replicates each of those 13 practice areas that you will be undertaking. So obviously what's going to be really important for you is that you know what you need to study on each week of the course. So for each course, there is a course calendar. So I'm just going to take you to one that relates to a live course that has just completed. So this looks pretty full, but this is a course, a part-time course, and essentially your Canvas calendar for each week will tell you what study units you need to complete by the end of each week. So here you can see there are a number of study units, and basically you can do them in whatever order you want to, as long as you complete all of the study units by the end of the relevant week. In addition to telling you which study units you need to look at, it will also give you the links to all of the live sessions, whether that's a group session, so a town hall meeting or a surgery, and it will also give you the links to your one-to-one meetings with those one-to-one supervisors that I mentioned. And then in addition, just in order to keep you on track, there's also what we call our week ahead, which enables you to plan ahead and see what's coming up in the forthcoming week. And so this calendar, as Jolie says, is populated right at the start. So you'll get access to this for a week, for the week before the course starts. So you'll be able to link that to your own calendar and diary system to keep you on track. So that's the calendar, and I'm sure Matt will agree that that probably keeps students on track, and I'm sure he'll have something more to say about that when he tells you about his experience. So as I said, we've got the 13 module areas. So if you clicked on one of the modules, you'd then be taken to the module page, which then gives you an overview of all of the units. And you'll see here, so each module, so here you can see that contract is then divided into a number of subunits. So we don't just say, here we go, here's contract law, go and learn it all. We divide it quite specifically into bite-sized chunks, so that you're looking at particular aspects of contract law and all of the other subjects in a particular way in a particular week. So that, again, that's to help you manage your time and not make you feel overwhelmed. So just to give you an idea of what a typical subunit looks like, I'm going to click on contract law, and we're just going to have a quick look at what contract formation looks like. And the way in which the SLK has been set up is the methodology is exactly the same for every single unit. So once you've got your head around what you do for one subunit in terms of the learning steps and the learning activities, that's replicated across the 118 study units that make up SLK, Solicitor's Legal Knowledge. So for each subunit, there will be obviously an overview of what you'll be covering in that particular subunit. Then there are a number of knowledge resources that you can make use of. So there are some videos that you'll be asked to watch together with a transcript. And then there'll be reading of the core manual. So all of the manuals that you need in order to prepare for SQE1 and SQE2 are provided either online or in hard copy for SLK in order that you have all of that information at your fingertips. So each of the subunits will direct you to a particular aspect of the contract law manual to make sure you've got the relevant detail that you need for SQE1. So once you've got that overview and that insight into the legal knowledge, you'll then be testing your knowledge. So the first couple of activities, and we have what we call drag and drop activities, and then flashcards are there to help you embed and check your understanding. So it's embedding your knowledge and checking your understanding. So each subunit has a number of drag and drop activities, and each unit has a number of flashcard activities. And you can see here there are 19 flashcards in total to help you test your knowledge of contract law. And then at the end of each subunit, there'll then be the all-important multiple choice questions. And we obviously want to make sure you get as much exposure as possible to those typical type of multiple choice questions that you're going to face in SQE1. So each subject has about 10 multiple choice questions, again, to test that knowledge and application of that knowledge in the way in which you're going to be tested for SQE1. So that is obviously quite a specific demo of SQE1 preparation course, but the format and the way in which the homepage is set up and the modules are set up is replicated for the other modules you'll study, although obviously the content is going to be quite different depending on whether it's SQE1 or SQE2 that you're looking at. So that was just a very quick demonstration of SQE1. So I will stop sharing so that I can hand back to Jolie.
Thank you very much, Sarah. We actually have some questions on the checkbox that you might be able to provide some insights for us.
Mm-hmm.
So Ella asked that, like, for example, if she's doing the part-time LLM, will there be any group like evening group sessions and one-to-one for those who are working full-time, 9 to 5? And if it's not possible, what would be the alternatives, or will you be able to give us some insights on that?
Okay, so all of our none of our courses are delivered either at the weekends or in the evening, so they are all during the day. But as I mentioned before, if you're not able to make the live group sessions because you're working, then you can obviously watch the recordings. Now, your one-to-one sessions with your supervisor will be during the day, but what we they are usually about 15 minutes long. So what we usually ask students to do is to sort of, if they are working, see if they can have a word with their employer to see whether they can just take 15 minutes out of their day, or it's always open to you to contact your one-to-one supervisor and say, could I have my appointment, say, early in the morning? I know I've done that for students, and I'll meet you at 8:30, or I'll meet you at 5 o'clock just after your working day, or I'll meet you in your lunch hour. Now, I can't guarantee that because obviously the supervisors do have workloads to juggle themselves, but we do try and accommodate some sort of slightly out of hours, if you like, sessions if we can. But it wouldn't be 7 o'clock at night is the thing. It's sort of more just at the start of the working day, or just at the end of the working day, or in your lunchtime. So hopefully that answers the question.
Great, thank you very much, Sarah. And we have another questions in regards to the learning material. So of course, the college, we will provide the resources and learning materials, but are there any additional readings that are recommended by the academic teams alongside what we provide?
Okay, so in relation to SQE1 and SQE2, no, because essentially all the materials we provide are what you need to focus on for the SQE1 and SQE2 exams. And to be honest, Matt will probably tell you that there is a huge volume of material to get through, so you need to be focused on that. For the GDL and the transactional modules, again, we do provide all the links to the online materials you need, but there is more ability to dip outside of those materials if you'd like. But again, but you don't need to, is the short answer. You are provided with everything that you need.
Cool. Thank you very much, Sarah. So I'm gonna quickly share my screen again, and then we can continue. Thank you. Okay, cool. So yeah, as I mentioned before Sarah's screen share, here is the QR code to the course demo. So feel free to scan the QR code if you haven't already done so. So moving forward, as mentioned in the beginning, we are very, very glad that we have Matt with us today. Good evening, Matt. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, it will be really, really good to really hear from you, as in what your experience are studying with our college. Of course, you are currently an LLM student with us, and you have also passed your SQE with the college. So first of all, congratulations. How do you feel passing your SQE 1?
Yeah, thanks, Jolie. Really good. I did the SQE one last summer, so last July. So I got the results in the end of August. So I've known for a little while, but yeah, it's a really amazing feeling. Probably the best academic feeling I've had. So yeah, it's really good.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Before we start, like before I ask you quite a lot of questions that we collected from the attendees today, can you just share with us very briefly your experience in learning and studying with the College of Legal Practice?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's useful to give my own little background to where I got to almost before I started with the college. So I studied a law degree in Newcastle. I live on the Wirral in Merseyside. But I studied in Newcastle, and then I did 18 months work as a cost draftsman, which is a bit relevant because it's one of these, it's a specific type of legal professional. So I wasn't qualified, but under the new qualifying work experience, I think it's an area where people can become solicitors without working directly with solicitors. I did work with one as a manager, but I think it's sort of one of the types of roles that is now qualifying work experience. So I did that for 18 months and then decided I wanted to do the SQE again because I realised that the work I'd done was qualifying work experience. So I thought there'd be more sort of flexibility with potential routes to qualify. So started with the college last March, and so I did a few months up to July for the SQE1. And yeah, the college is really, really good. I'm obviously here tonight, but I've highly recommended it to anyone I've talked to about studying with the college, and hearing some friends who have studied with other providers. I really, when I hear from other providers, I really still like the college. I think the way it's set up is perfect for the SQE1 because the SQE1 is a very kind of independent exam in the way you study, because you don't need to have lots and lots of hours in like lecture theatres as you might have done at university. It's all about just kind of cracking on and getting stuck in. And the fact that I was doing multiple choice questions from day one was perfect because that's what it's all about. The exam is a big, massive multiple choice question exam, and the sooner you start practicing them, because they're a skill in themselves, the better. So, like you saw with the sub topics that Sarah was showing, each day ticking off 2 of them, and I agree with Sarah. The calendar, I'm someone that likes to cross things off, and the calendar actually, once you complete your topic, it actually puts a little electronic line through it on the calendar. So, yeah, for the SQE1, I think it's brilliant. Just the way it sets up, you learn the knowledge, and then you're applying it. But then, yeah, practicing the multiple choice questions, and I think the college does mocks that I think were really, really beneficial. So it starts with just kind of doing maybe 20 question mock, and it builds and builds each week. You add more and more questions until you eventually get to the 90 question mock, which is how long the exams are. And I think that was brilliant because, as I said, it is a skill, not just doing a single MCQ, but doing a paper, learning the time frames, because one of the most important things is making sure that you do finish the exam. And the way the college builds you up, they don't throw you straight in with a full one, but they build you up so that when you go into the actual exam, your stamina is really good. So that was a really beneficial thing for the college. And those of you that do start studying soon, I think you may feel like you don't want to do a mock, and you may get bad results in your mocks. I did, and it does knock you, but don't sort of. I thought about not doing one, and my girlfriend told me to do it anyway, and then I did it, and it went better. So it's really good to just follow exactly what the college are laying out, because even if you might have the odd bad result, in the end, it all comes together.
Great, thank you very much. It's really good to hear that the college structure works for
Mm.
you when
Yeah.
helping you to prepare for your exam. And of course, different people will find it like differently when it comes to how works, like what works for them. And for the SQE1, it's all about MCQ questions. Is about practicing the large amount of MCQ. So it's really good to hear that you are like all done now. So it's nice. Before you did your SQE one exam, how confident were you before taking them? Like, were you unsure or were you very confident before you actually go into the test center?
Sure. So, I mean, this exam, you will never feel ready to do it. And on the day of the exams, you can tell from the people when everyone's queuing up to go in, everyone is a little apprehensive because it is a hard exam. But no, as I literally just said, the way the college prepares you and the way you do the mocks, I did feel ready. And the way my course was structured, so I do full time again for a bit of context. So I wasn't having to manage working or anything like that. The way the college sets up, you also the course finishes a month before the exam, so that you can really then go over everything again. But especially I spent time focusing on topics that I struggled with. And again, I was then able to also, so again, it's changed a little bit from when I did it. But when I did last summer, you had to do the exam over 2 days with 2 papers each day. I think that's changed now to 4 days. But what I did was a mock day. So the college, they have such a bank of practice papers that I actually did a mock day. So I did 2.5 hour paper and had an hour break because that's what I would have got. So I think by doing that, yeah, it's a hard exam. You never quite feel ready, but I was ready to do it, but still nervous, of course. But yeah, definitely ready.
Cool. Thank you very much. But it's very interesting to hear from you that okay, you don't feel ready, but then I guess it is normal to have this kind of feeling.
Definitely.
And yeah, it's good to hear from your side.
Thank
And of course, you were doing an LLM while preparing for the SQE preparation.
you.
In the beginning, what makes you decide to do an LLM instead of a standalone SQE preparation course? Is there any considerations that you've
Sure.
made there?
Yeah, so I think this one's specific to the person. So as I said, I was working and decided that I enjoyed my job, but I think I wanted to go in a different direction. And was able, fortunately, to be able to um, do the full time course. And I appreciate people have different circumstances, meaning that that's not possible. But because I was going into it, I did the LLM because first and foremost, it's great because you get a postgrad loan, which is an important consideration for people. Um, but I also think doing an LLM, it's another string to your bow, and I know it's competitive um, for training contract applications for those that are looking to make them. And I think any extra thing, not only that you can show on a CV, but the skills that you get and be able to apply and show off. Um, I think that's great. And I went into it without a training contract, just studying, and did land one just before the SQE one. And I think being able to talk about the fact that I was an LLM did come across well in applications and interviews and so forth. So I think, yeah, it's great that there's the funding there, and but also, yeah, everything you can get in the legal industry, I think, is good.
Great. Thank you very much, Matt. And yes, in terms of the transactional and business skills module, we basically helped you prepare as a new qualified solicitor
Yes,
from day one. So it's really good. And also you get a master's to boost your employability and your qualification as well. So it's really good. Thank you. And then quite a lot of people are very interested in how you prepare for the SQE exam. Of
yeah,
course, you mentioned that you were following our structure, the college
yeah,
structure. Is there anything additional that you prepare or you did on top of what we provide?
sure. Yeah, so I what I did was I kind of my course started in March, but I sort of applied and had the time in January and February to sort of think about it. So I firstly the college, I'm not always 100% sure on the policies as they are now, but when I started, they gave me 4 manuals before the course. I think that was really useful because it made me see what level and content is at, how much content there is for some of the topics. Obviously, it does vary topic by topic, but it also allowed me to kind of have a go at creating my own flashcards. So I used a really good app site software called Anki, Anki, which is flashcards, online flashcards. And how it works is when I was reading the manual for the subtopic, I'm not someone that can just read. I have to do something whilst I'm reading if I'm learning, studying. So I made flashcards whilst reading the subtopic before I did my activities and MCQs. And it's really good site because when you go to study your flashcards, you click how easy or hard you found it, and based on your answer, it works out like a time frame to then when it will give you the flashcard again. So the idea being stuff you know really well, you won't they'll work that out so that you don't have to see it all the time. So you have to kind of waste time practicing something you know inside out. But then the harder stuff will keep coming back. And the idea being that we keep doing it, and then it eventually beds in. So that was I used that all the way through to the SQE1. That was the biggest thing. Other than that, the college resources are fantastic. And so following that, other than maybe for your own set of flashcards, I think the college, everything's there for you.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you for sharing the kind of app that you were using throughout the preparation.
But yeah,
I'm sure
I've
a
got
lot.
my girlfriend's a medicine student, and
Mm.
if anyone knows a medicine student, I bet you they will know what Anki is. I think apparently it's used for all medicine students for years. So the way the SQE is, I think it works quite well.
Great. Thank you very much, Matt. And yeah, right. Really, thank you so much for sharing all the insight and your experience with us today. I'm sure a lot of the people, a lot of attendees in the webinar find it really, really useful in helping them to start their SQE journey and even to prepare for their SQE assessment. So thank you so much for your time today, and also good luck with your SQE2 preparation and the rest of the LLM module. So thank you very much, Matt.
No worries. One comment I wanted to
Yeah.
say, I know this is set up for SQE1, is that if you're thinking about the LLM, the way that my course was structured was I did the SQE1, and then I did some of my modules for the LLM,
Mm.
and they are skills practically based. So it's not like a kind of traditional academic LLM. It's all practical. So it's hypothetical, advising clients, speaking to team partners, actually working on contracts and things like that. And this is all really good going into SQE2 because it's all the skills. So some of the courses are different, part-time and things like that. But for me, it was really good to go from SQE1 to then starting the skills in the LLM setting with the pressures slightly different. And then now just about to start SQE2. So if you think about the LLM, I'd really recommend it for that reason.
Great. Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen again, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the courses that we offer at the College of Legal Practice. Thank you. Okay, so of course, Matt just now, he has share with us quite a lot of his tips in preparing for the SQE and how to actually succeed and pass his SQE assessment. So thank you very much. But if you would like to learn more about how to actually be successful, and about the college, about the courses, and also tips in succeeding in the SQE, feel free to scan the QR code on the screen right now. This is a guide that includes quite a lot of information and tips to help you study and ultimately pass the SQE. So all the content comes from our students who have completed it, and also it comes from our supervisors who have taught it. So they will give you very, very good experience, good guidance and advices, and first-hand advices as well. So on this slide, you will be able to see a list of courses that we offer at the College of Legal Practice. So you can see all of our courses, we provide both part-time and full-time options, depending on your time commitment. For example, for the SQE1 preparation, you can choose to study full-time, 13 weeks, or you can study 20 or 40 weeks if you study part-time. And also for the LLM in legal practice, it includes the SQE1 and SQE2 preparation module. And on top of that, you will be able to choose from a choice of transactional and business skills modules, which will prepare you for work as a newly qualified solicitor. And for our GDL program, of course, mentioned by Sarah. It is a law conversion course if you come from a non-law background or from another jurisdiction, or you've studied law, but it has been quite a while ago and you wanted to refresh your memory. Feel free to take a look at our graduate diploma in law. Lastly, you can see on this slide are our next start dates of our courses, and also you'll be able to see the application deadline for the respective courses as well. So we would definitely recommend you to think about when you wanted to do your SQE assessment, and then try to work it backwards and see which one will be the best start date for you. For example, if you would like to do your SQE1 assessment in July 2024, and you can only study part-time, then you can do our 20 weeks part-time course, which start in February. Or if you have full-time commitment, then you can start our 13 weeks full-time course, which start in March. For more information about our upcoming start dates, you can go to our website on our course calendar, and you'll be able to see a list of our upcoming start dates. And of course, if you have any further questions or would like to book a one-to-one chat with our team, feel free to contact us. You can email us, or you can scan the QR code and fill in the forms, and one of our team member will be in touch with you. And you can also join our LinkedIn SQE info group for any updates about SQE, about our courses, and any useful information. And thank you so much for answering a lot of the questions, Sarah. I noticed that you have been keeping an eye on the checkbox, so really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let me have a quick chat and see if there's any other questions that we have on the chat box.
I was just going to pick up on a couple that
Yes.
have cropped up. People are asking about sort of sample timetables. So we have on our website got sample timetables for SQE1 and SQE2 preps for the sort of full-time course, sort of 10, 13 weeks, the part-time course, 20 weeks, and then our extended part-time, which is 40 weeks. If you go to our website, Jolie, I don't know if we can put the
Yeah, I
link
can quickly do that.
you'll be able to see what a typical timetable for each of the courses looks like. And then I know somebody, and this was a really good question, was asking, can you complete for SQE1, can you complete all of the subunits relating to one practice area? So do all your contract subunits in one go and then move on to the next? No, we wouldn't recommend that. And the reason for that is because when you come to SQE1 exam, the papers you sit are a mixture of all different subject areas. So you need to be able to jump from one subject area to another in the exam. So we like to get you as prepared as possible. And therefore, that's the reason why we mix up all the different subunits relating to the different practice areas. And I think Matt will probably agree that that is really good practice so that your mind can jump from practice area to practice area.
Yeah, definitely would not advise doing it all, each topic in one go. Yeah, spread it.
Thanks, Matt. So
Cool.
I think that was everything. That was all the sort of timetable-y type questions. I'm not sure if there's any other sort of categories.
Great, thank you. So, okay, yeah, we have another question here, if you don't mind, Sarah. So, one of the attendees said that they graduate from a law degree in 2021. Would you advise to take the GDL?
I would say that your knowledge is still pretty fresh. If you, I would say probably not. You will get refreshers, if you like, in terms of the manuals, in terms of the knowledge that you will have done as part of your degree. So I would say that's still pretty close to where you are now. So hopefully, contract and tort, when you start the course, some of those principles will bounce back. Matt, would you agree?
Yeah, I was going to chip in. I graduated from law degree in 2021
Oh, there we
and
go.
started a year ago. So obviously it's an extra year, but I was you'll still have the knowledge even now, definitely, for the things that you did in your law degree. And then there's lots of new things, but the sort of way you've learned principles already, that'll still be there. Your kind of general legal knowledge will definitely still be there.
I think we were thinking someone who maybe did it 10, 15, 20 years ago is what we're thinking about. Maybe someone might want to do the GDL then. And then I can see that Ryan has just got another question, and it's not dumb at all. There is no such thing. But yes, all the modules are mandatory. Yeah. In terms of well, the modules of the LLM are all mandatory, and then each of the subunits, it's not mandatory to complete them in the sense of we won't, it doesn't count towards the sort of your end of module mark, but obviously you'll need to complete all the subunits that make up each of the courses in order to get as good a preparation as possible for SQE.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And of course, if anyone has any further questions, feel free to email us. As I mentioned, you can go to our website as well and then contact us there. There are some contact details on the website. And then, yeah, there's another question saying that is there a course starting in October for SQE2 prep course?
Yeah, I've got that to hand actually. There's one starting on a full-time course starting on the 14th of October. And then there's a part-time course starting on, which is a 22-week course, which starts on the 21st of October. So you've got a choice of those two courses in October.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And I've just sent over the
Oh,
course
lovely,
calendar
thanks.
link as well. So feel free to reach out to that. Not reach out to that, to just revert to the course calendar page on our website. Thank you very much. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining us today. I hope you find this session really, really useful. Of course, any further questions, feel free to get in touch with us. And if you have any further questions, yeah, get in touch with us. And thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah, and also Matt. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good evening and see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.